Hi, this is Dr. Velma Blann-Wilson. I'm going to continue what I started with the Apostle Micah in chapter 1. I already posted a video on Instagram. I linked the video link so that you will be able to just copy and paste the link to your browser, a safer browser, because I had some problems with the time I needed to discuss what I need to say and share with followers or share with potential new followers of my views and of my commentaries of the Holy Bible. Again, I'm not an ordained ministress. I am a person that studied PhD in dispute resolution, and I am a doctor in the Conflicts Analysis and Resolution, Department of Conflicts Analysis and Resolution, since 2015. I also hold a PhD and I'm certified in psychology, a master's in psychology, a BS in nursing, and I have some background in medical assistance. So I am looking forward to pursuing for the first time my RN licenses, because I have my psychology certification has expired. It's very difficult to get a committee to follow sometimes new visionaries. Thus, I did receive a top DEI honorary award and completed the dissertation, and I transferred to another university because my committee was not connecting with me as we were contracted within 6 months of passing the qualifying exam. It just seemed like a lot of people just made up a lot of stories and got everybody confused, and I ended up having to leave the university. But I do have proof through the College Board, State of Florida, and Department of Education that I am a doctor, and I do have a doctoral degree and PhD in the field of humanities and social sciences. So I am a social scientist. I also am interested in theories of empirical articles, and I love theology of the Holy Bible. My mom taught me a lot of about the Bible. My mom taught me a lot about my disposition in the churches, and she said some things about what she felt that the church was not really following through with the Holy Bible. And I, for one, would rather the preacher to hold the Bible in his hand when he's preaching to me, or at least to follow through and to stop with these I viewpoints and placing themselves too much in contrasting and comparing themselves too much with what reasons why they are the way they are now in comparison to the way they were when they were, sinning a lot in the streets or sinning as spouses. And just basically, I don't really like to hear too much about the I's and the U's and the we's. I like to hear more about the Holy Bible and the way how the apostles visionary many miracles that it seems to have unfolded even today in other folks' lives. Similar meaning-making factors, however, but just knowing the truth is all I need to know, and it's why I love the Bible, the Holy Bible. I'm going to continue with Micah chapter 2. I stopped in my last video I posted on Instagram with the title Lion Prophets, chapter 2, Micah, M-I-C-A-H, chapter 2, I stopped at verses 6 through 11. So now I will continue with Israel Restored, the last 2 verses of chapter 2. Before I do, I just want to say something. I've been studying to learn more about Jacob and Esau and the house of Jacob, and connecting it with Judah, just to know a lot. I did go through Genesis chapter 28, and I did learn that Jacob was the twin of Esau, who was the firstborn, Esau had red hair, and Jacob had dark hair. And I believe Esau was one that was hairy. Um, Jacob is the twin that held onto the heel of the first twin as the mother Rebecca was birthed, delivering them and bringing them into during her delivery of birth and bringing them into the world. Isaac is the son of Sarah and Abraham. And Abraham had his first son, Ishmael, through Hagar, which was a handmaid that you say today was a surrogate mother. And Ishmael and Hagar were left at a well in some part of Beersheba, and they were given a starting point where by Abraham made them comfortable with a well and also fruit trees and things like that. And he went on his way with Sarah after Isaac was born. And Isaac met Rebecca. Is it Rebecca? Yeah. Isaac met Rebecca through a chief priest who in fact was sent out to different parts of Beersheba or Gerar, or they call it Omri. But anyways, he found the wife of Isaac, Rebecca, who in fact was related to the Syrians. And Rebecca came along. She used to help the men that passed through with their horses and they were thirsty and give them water from the well. And she thought the chief priests that were friends of Abraham and followed through with Abraham finding a wife for his son Jacob, and discovered that she was to marry Jacob, and then Jacob and Esau. Rebecca was to marry Isaac. I'm sorry. It's very confusing. You know, focus. Rebecca was to marry Isaac, and then they had Esau and Jacob. So the problem arises when Jacob and Esau birthrights were switched. And when the birthrights were switched, it was kind of hard for, I guess, people in the town to identify with them. They had to go by the color of their hair and the hairy skin of one of them. But anyway, the birthrights were switched because Esau was, I think, was a little bit more arrogant than Jacob, and Jacob was the father-along twin that did as his older twin request of him. And it was a time when their father Isaac fell sick. The mother Rebecca decided to cook veal because Esau was the twin that knew how to cook very well. He was a very good chef. And so the mother cooked the veal and everything to sort of dissuade Isaac from identifying that Jacob was actually the one at the bed rest where he was dying. And he did not want to lie to his father. But the mother fooled him with the veal. And as he grabbed a hold of Jacob, was trying to talk to him, the mother convinced him that, yes, that was Esau. But it wasn't Esau, it was Jacob. So anyways, Jacob was blessed, as it says here, as I've gone through Micah 1 through 5. Jacob was blessed to represent, it was symbolic of the house of Judah. So it says, as I've written down here, as for the transgression of Jacob, which is the house of Jacob, all this, and for the sins of the house of Israel. There was a lot of evil calamities, and there was a lot of sin, and a lot of judgment was passed upon the house of Judah, and it was a lot of unrighteousness going on. And so God had placed a judgment upon the people of Israel and Judah for their manifold sins and transgressions, especially the idolatry, and they were worshiping a golden calf. And this golden calf they started worshiping because it was indicted due to their men were noble, and the men were like men who were very debonair and epic and uh, influential, and they were princes and all of this nice, beautiful stuff and food and everything. And it caused the people mindset to forget about God. You see, so that's basically what it was. But as I'm going to continue, I need to study more on this. It's very interesting, Micah. I want to study a lot more about it because I don't want to just rush through it, but I want to study more about it just so that I can enhance my understanding of Isaac, Esau, Jacob, Ishmael, and all of them. I also learned that Esau was very angry with his brother Jacob because Esau wasn't there. He was somewhere in the temple and he were having a lot of fun. Esau had more wives than he can handle. And he was very mad with Jacob because Jacob did not say that, no, I'm not Esau, I'm Jacob. But the mother again didn't want Isaac to bless Jacob. Didn't want Isaac to bless Esau. And that's why she went and she cooked all of the veal to make it seem as if it was Esau there by the bedside of Isaac as he was dying. And so the prayers went to Jacob, rather Esau. I think I got it right that time. So it's very confusing. You have to really focus because we're dealing with twins. And so Esau was so mad, he was mad enough to kill Jacob about the birthright being switched. So that's what they mean by the birthrights being switched, is because the mom were responsible for it. Rebecca was the daughter of, let's see, she were related to the Syrians, and she was also a princess that her father and her brother and all those people were in a place called Bethuel, Bethuel. I would think that was pronounced as Bethel. And when Isaac blessed Jacob, he blessed Jacob to inherit and possess all of the land, and blessed him to bless Jacob, his baby twin son that he thought was Esau, to increase in population from his descendants, which was Abraham, all the generation of Abraham, all throughout the rest of the world, that Jacob were given leadership over Esau without his dad even knowing. So that's why even still yet today, I think they have some type of war still today. And if it's not, it might be the ISIL, Levites versus, is it Levites? Levites versus the people of Israel. And then we have the Palestinians, we have the Sumerians. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's very interesting. I love it. I want to learn more, but it's a lot. It's very confusing. So you need to really focus when you're talking about the story of Isaac, Rebecca, which was the wife of Isaac, and then we have Esau and Jacob, which are the twins of them too. And then Isaac comes from Sarah, who birthed Isaac when she was 99 years of age, and her husband Abraham, which was blessed by God as a judge. And who else was it? he were friends. Abraham were friends of the Gentiles and the Israelites and the Jews. And so that's the people of Judah. And I mean, it's a great story. It is so worthy of going back and enhancing my understanding of it. I just love the story. It's the beginning of the Holy Bible, Genesis, and come to Micah. I don't remember really a pastor preaching about it. But where I want to go today is we're speaking about the lion prophets. I started chapters 6 through 11. So right now I'm going to finish Israel restored on 12 through 13. Then I'm going to continue with wicked rulers and prophets. So as it stands here, let me see. Did I finish everything? Oh, one last thing I meant to mention in my notes. I was very shocked that Esau married Ishmael's daughter, who is his half niece. Because Ishmael was the firstborn of his dad, Abraham, and Ishmael's mom was the handmaid, Hagar. So Ishmael's daughter married to his nephew, which is half brother's son, Esau. And so Abraham had always said to them and passed it on to Isaac as well, not to marry a Canaanite. So it was some rule not to marry a Canaanite, but that's what Esau did. And he married into the house of his, let's see here, read again. Jacob was told to go to the house of Bethuel and increase in numbers, and also to take a wife of a Lebanese wife, Lebanese wife. Jacob was ordered to take a Lebanese wife. And Esau ended up over with his half-brother in Beersheba. He married Ishmael's daughter. Yes, I can't remember, he didn't give the daughter's name. But they mentioned the sister of the wife he married name. So it's even now today, I remember people talking about the Jewish people married into the family, like they married their cousins and all this to keep their family pure. They stayed into the family. Well, that's what this is all about, and that's what you will hear, that many of the people of Judah will marry their cousins or marry their dad's brother daughter or something like that. But this is exactly what happened. But finally, throughout the story, because I'm not on that story, Esau and Jacob, they came together and they had a meeting. But Esau was mad enough to kill him, and Jacob was hiding from him, and he was very frightened of his brother. But it wasn't his fault. Again, the mother did not want to have to go and look for Esau, because the father was dying. So she needed for that blessing to be transpired, because she didn't want him to die without a claim upon the possession of the land that the father had already had arranged to pass on to his son Esau, but it wasn't there. So the birthrights were switched by the mother in order for them to not lose anything. And so the land was disproportionate because of that, and they're still having trouble today with respect of the land of Judah. Let's see, Samara, Amrai. And see, the great men by their edicts, influences have encouraged the people to worship golden calves. So that's basically what God was mad about, for their manifold sins and transgressions, especially their idolatry. And there were a lot of evil and calamities and judgments symbolic of metaphoric phrases. And those metaphoric phrases, you'll find a lot of that in Proverbs. Proverbs has a lot of metaphoric phrases. Okay, so I'm going to move along. And chapter 2, Micah, Micah, and I'm going to continue with verses 12, Israel restored, through 13, and then I will continue chapter 3, Micah chapter 3, verses 1 through 12. I will compare and contrast not a lot of anything I recognize as being a part of my own experiences that I can speak on to sort of give examples, because a lot of people do not really understand the Holy Bible that much. So I will give examples as I go along the way once I recognize a key element that will give you a better understanding of what I'm discussing here. Okay, in the Lion Prophets 6 through 11, I just went through that as I just explained, as God was speaking through Michael and blessing Michael. And let's explain again. Michael was an author, and he was from Monasheth Gath, and that's chapter 1, 14th verse, as I believe that will be found in the Quran, which was located about 25 miles southwest of Jerusalem near Gath. Although Michael was not as politically aware as Isaiah or Daniel, he showed a profound concern for the suffering of the people and had a clear sense of his prophetic calling. A contemporary of Isaiah and Hosea. That's who Micah is. It's like a more modern of today's era type of guy in comparison to back when Isaiah and Hosea were discussed in the areas of the Bible. They're witnessing their story. Micah may have been a farmer turned prophet like Amos. So that's Micah. And the theme about Micah, it also shares a history. As I just spoke about the history, we're going to talk about his current bio. He was from a town in southwestern Judah. His message was directed at both capital cities, Samaria and Jerusalem. He was probably around when the Assyrians destroyed Samaria in 722 BC, and may have even lived through the siege of Jerusalem by Assyria. Michael's message comes out of unique visions from God, as I just explained. In effect, he saw things that others couldn't, such as the prophecy of Bethlehem as the birthplace of Christ. So God has given many of us visions, sometime in dreams, and a lot of things that we see in dreams are considered soothsaying. So we can't speak too much about dreams because people want reality now. But that describes, the prophet Micah. And I'm going to go ahead and continue as I had decided to do, because my sound on my videos that I had posted earlier was 35 minutes. It was not, you couldn't hear a thing I was saying. Okay, let me go ahead and continue. Israel restored, chapter 2, verses 12. I will surely assemble all of you, O Jacob. Now that's God is talking. He's going to assemble you. He's going to organize you. He's going to get people together, and he's going to get them righteous. Assemble, meaning to get you righteous, to get you organized. And I believe I just said something about that. Let me just find it. Yeah, according to the righteous judgment of God upon the people of Israel and Judah for their manifold sins and transgressions, especially idolatry, God is going to do a renaissance, like a renewal, restoring a whole new, because the house of Judah has been defiled. And he wants the people to come back as they originally were. And so instead of just letting Judah die or punishing them continuously, God decided to restore Judah. And so that's what he's doing right here. And then he's going to speak more about some tough love, about giving account of their behavior, what might happen if they continue this sin. All right, so I will surely assemble all of you, O Jacob. I will surely assemble all of you, O Jacob. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. He will gather the remnant, and even the shreds, like even the areas where it's just real poor over there, and it's nobody over there. The remnants is whatever is left behind. I will put them together like sheep of the fold, like a flock in the midst of their pasture. They shall make a loud noise because of so many people. So he's going to assemble the people of, surely assemble all of you, O Jacob. We're going to get you righteous. We're going to find out what's going on here. We're going to go to the ends of the earth just to get you all together, because the house of Jacob was holy. And now what happened? What you have turned your backs on me. That's what he was discussing in the earlier part of Micah chapter 1. The one who breaks open will come up before them. They will break out, pass through the gate, and go out by it. Their king will pass before them with the Lord at their head. So this is what God has promised is going to happen. He's going to restore Judah. He's going to get the house of Jacob in order. And then he speaks about next, that's the end of chapter 2, wicked rulers and prophets. And I said, okay, so the wicked rulers and prophets, it's like God is saying, take heed. Take heed. Hear now, O heads of Jacob, and you rulers of the house of Israel. Is it not for you to know justice? So, what that means is, what that question is, do you think you don't need to do the right thing? Do you think that you have the upper hand over me? You don't have the upper hand over me. I mean, what applies to the others applies to you too. So that question asked is, hear now, O heads of Jacob. O heads mean like the princes, the people ahead, the kings. And you rulers of the house of Israel. See, the kings and rulers. Is it not for you to know justice? You who hate good and love evil, who strip the skin from my people and the flesh from their bones. That's the calamities that he's speaking about. And in verse 3, who also eat the flesh of my people. Now he's saying that these people are carnivores. They're eating the flesh of my people. And this was taking place in Samaria and in different parts of Samaria, Omri, I believe it's Omri. Let me see what Omri is. Omri. Let's see, it was Omri. Yeah, Omri. Omri, Omri. So, okay. You eat the flesh of my people. You flay their skin from them. You break their bones and chop them in pieces like meat for the pot, like flesh in the cauldron. Flesh in the cauldron. Then they will cry to the Lord, but he will not hear them. You see? So what he's saying is when you're in trouble, when you really need help, when these things are happening to you, when you are stripped from the skin and the flesh and bones and everything, and they begin to eat you and flay your skin from your bones and break you up and chop you up and put you like meat in a pot. Now you're going to call out to me, oh God, now. He says, when you cry out to the Lord, but he will not hear them. He will even hide his face from them at that time, because they have been evil in their deeds. And this is what God is saying to all of us, is that no matter what it is that you think about good and evil, enough is enough. Enough is enough. When God gets tired of all of this idolatry, evil, wicked, flesh eating and fleshy carnal thinking. You know, folks are scared to talk about the things that people are doing. Is there natural and unnatural things, or unnatural things that's forbidden in society, and the natural things that are okay, but then the natural things become unnatural. So now we have women marrying women, men marrying men, men wearing women clothing, women wearing men clothing. So these are the things that's going on. And so then they will cry to the Lord, but he will not hear them. He will even hide his face from them at that time, because they have been evil in their deeds. And in verse 5, thus says the Lord concerning the prophets. Now he's talking to the prophets, who make my people stray. You make my people stray away from the churches. Who chant peace while they chew with their teeth. So as you are eating the flesh of the dead, you are chanting peace, but you're eating dead, you're eating human beings. But who prepare war against him who puts nothing into their mouths. Okay? So you prepare war against the person that you are eating, that you are mistreating. You don't put nothing into their mouths. You starve them to death, but you're eating them. Therefore, you shall have night without vision, meaning you're going to be blinded. You will not be able to see. And you shall have darkness without divination. You're going to be in the darkness, and there will not be any Holy Ghost ever to set foot in that surrounding. The sun shall go down on the prophets. There will not be any light. So you know when there's not any light, there's darkness, and that's when there's a lot of sin take places in the dark, and there's a lot of evil, and you won't be able to see anything, to do anything, because there's no light. That means that you're not whole. That means you are dark inside. Your soul is not even around. Your soul will not be a comfort zone for you. And the day shall be dark for them. For the people who are following and worshiping the devil and idols and different crafts and eating human beings and are fleshy. And that's right here is what God is talking about, that wicked rulers and prophets has caused his people to lose ties with him, and he's very angry about it. And in verse 7, so the seers shall be ashamed, and the diviners abashed. Indeed, they shall all cover their lips, for there is no answer from God. So they're going to stop. At this time, the people will stop praying and stop having faith, because God has at this time has set forth his foot to only think about restoring Israel, restoring these people who are wicked. But there is something else that they must do in order to get God's attention. So we're going to move forth on 8th verse. But truly I'm full of power by the Spirit of the Lord, and of justice and might. You see, so God he is a forgiving God. To declare to Jacob his transgression and to Israel his sin. Again, Micah 3, 3rd chapter, 8th verse. We're going to go finish 8 through 12, and I'll be done with chapter 3. But truly I'm full of power by the Spirit of the Lord, and of justice and might, to declare to Jacob his transgression, and to Israel his sin. Now hear this, you heads of the house of Jacob, and rulers of the house of Israel, who abhor justice and pervert all equity, who build up Zion with bloodshed and Jerusalem with iniquity. Now, who build up Zion, if you're Mount Zion, with bloodshed and Jerusalem with iniquity. Her heads judge for a bribe. Her heads, they're judgmental. They want a bribe, if, ands, and buts. Her heads, the rulers, judge people for a bribe. Her priests teach for pay. They teaching you the Bible, but they want to get paid for. Pastors want to get paid for teaching you the Holy Bible. And her prophets divine for money. That's your bishops and your ministers. Yet they lean on the Lord and say, is not the Lord among us? No harm can come upon us, because they're heady, They're thinking up above their level. They haven't even gotten their feet wet, but they're overconfident about being blessed. And in 12, therefore, because of you, Zion shall be plowed like a field. Jerusalem shall become heaps of ruins, and the mountain of the temple like the bare hills of the forest. And that is what it says right here, that because the one who breaks up open will come up before them. They will break out, pass through the gate, and go out by it. Their king will pass before them with the Lord at their head. You see? So the Lord is at your head, and the king is passing before his people. But the king and the princes and all of them, because the way they live, the people are not focusing on Almighty God and the Lord. They're focusing on things, material things. Money, gold, food, sex, all of these things. They're even killing one another. They're eating one another. So what it says right here is that now the Lord will reign in Zion in chapter 4. And I'm going to close out chapter 3. I think I had gone through some of this, but I had to explain it different, because what I'm going to do is start writing and jotting down what I want to say so that I won't get it mixed up. But again, as I said, this is going on today. This is the reasons why we have right now today Iran and Jerusalem and all of the problems over there in the Arab nation, and all of them are having some controversies. Still yet Samaria and even Somalia and Afghanistan. God has sent floods throughout the entire world over the past 6 months. And it's like God is crying, because we don't know, we're in 2022, to God it's only 2 days. Because 1,000 years to God is 1 day. So the 21st century will mark 3 days, and we will be over the amount of time that God had blessed us to live before he let the devil out of the chains of hell. And as I study more, I have taken myself, I would say I'm not perfect, but I have taken myself 75% out of the sin zone. And because I'm imperfect and I am human, and I'm surrounded, as it has just been explained, about the kings are so noble, they're so great, they're so handsome, and the princes, oh my, I wish I had the money. We get to glorifying things. That's when our head remove ourselves away from the temple of God that he has blessed us to be holy. God said that he is holy and he is not amongst the unholy. So how is it that a common person on common ground in a common place remove herself? How does Dr. Bland remove herself away from unholy people? Unholy people get very angry with me because I remove myself from the sinfulness of what I have witnessed, that of their possessing these sins, and they're not following me, who wants to follow the Holy Bible. I don't drink. I don't smoke cigarettes. I stopped the fornication. I stopped that. I don't go to the bars. I don't wear all these clothes. But I have set some examples on my page where I put on a particular clothing and I showed some bare skin because I have been named as like a spotted leopard or a Dalmatian, and I needed to prove that these are lies. Well, I decided that I wasn't going to do that anymore because God said to have faith in Him, and I don't have to prove to these people. But they're wearing me down. They're destroying my reputation. They're making me not have friends. They have removed my committee from my PhD dissertation, which was a great proposal to help a community, to give back to the community, as I needed funds from the state legislature so they can hear what I need to say. Why did I spend over close to $1 million to invest in myself to become a doctor? Where it was that I followed the templates in the syllabi of the schools system and looked like they didn't care about the end result of my planning ahead to help myself as a single woman, as a widow who's lost her husband. So what is it that I do now is I have to go back to where I should have been all along, is to put my hand on the Holy Bible and to pray and ask for forgiveness of all of my sins, and to pray that God will send me through to where I need to be, that I've lost everything. I've lost my home, I've lost my clothing, I've lost my transportation, my dogs. My husband died of cancer, and then it seems like my home that I purchased with my husband, the condo association had bad business planning ahead. They didn't have adequate insurance to cover the building that will help the insurance companies and the banks, that the bank lenders that loaned me the money to buy the condo, to be assured that I have coverage in case of catastrophic Mother Nature destruction, that I would be covered. Well, because they didn't have casualty insurance, I lost everything. Now they decided to try to save the building. They're going to sell the building and get it to rent the place out, and that's against the law. You cannot rent out a condo unless you're the landlord. You can't throw the owner out of the condo and you become the landlord and you're the board of directors who mismanaged business is the reason that the person don't have their home anymore, and they need to pay rent to the bank now instead of being a homeowner. Now you are made into a tenant, and then when you refuse to go along with them, you lose everything. They call the law, the police, to throw you out. And then the police that come to throw you out are out of their jurisdiction. So they're involved into racketeering, into some type of propaganda to get me to look stupid as a doctor. So I decided to keep myself pure and to stay away from the terrible, terrible things of the world. And as I rise up every day, just pray and thank God for what I have. And the money that I'm spending now is a lot of money to stay in this motel room, but I am alive, and I thank God for my life because someone is shooting at me. So all of these things that's going on, that I pray that God will protect me, to keep me safe, to keep evil people, wicked people away from me, that I am not rejecting anyone. I just don't want, if you're not in this Bible, if you're not following the teachings of the Holy Bible, if you're not following the 10 Commandments, I'm sorry. I've lost you as a friend, a confidant, as a family member. You need to get yourself together, and you need to understand that we are in the last days, and I want to be saved. I don't want to lose my life under the hands of someone on crack, on drugs, or someone that's in need of more money than what I need and want to come and kill me for my little money. You know, I'm not going to keep myself around environments which are unholy, and I'm sorry to tell you that I have thrown in the towel a long time ago. It would be so nice to have someone in my life, someone that are going to God-fearing man that's going to love me for the rest of my life until death do us part. But as a widow now, I'm not even thinking about getting another husband. God did say that only your husband can bless you to get you to heaven. Someone else's husband cannot bless me to get me to heaven. That's who I keep meeting, is someone else's husband. I don't want someone else's husband to come to me with Bible studies or to be a part of a membership club, and then the next thing I know, I'm in bed with you. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm sorry, you guys. I love you, but I'm not doing that anymore. And I thank you in the name of the Father, which is the head, in the name of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which is my internal being, my heart, my vital organs, my wholeness, my body. I thank you. Amen. Because I'm not going to go back to the old ways. It's time to move forward in a new life and to restore myself as God said that He is going to assemble this place, the place of Judah. He's going to assemble it. He said that in the beginning, that He is going to assemble this place, and He's going to surely assemble all of you who are living as the people who were sinning a lot with evil and calamities and idolatry. And He spoke of the house of Judah, which is symbolic of Jacob. So Jacob's house will be in thus far the Lord's reign in Zion, and He has forgiven the people of Judah and has given them the possession of the land. Thank you so much, and God bless you. And this message is from Dr. Velma Blann-Wilson. Amen.